everyone. We will be glad we're so glad you're here, and we'll kick off in about 5 minutes. In the meantime, scan the QR code to join our REeBroker Facebook group. Um, it's private, it's just for our agents. And then if you have any other ideas, just email us at ideas@rebrokerca.com. Really glad to have you here. We will start in about 1 minute. Thank you all for your patience. We'll be starting.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining us for our February 2026 webinar. Since we haven't met since last year, Happy New Year. We hope your 2026 has been going wonderfully so far. We have a lot on the agenda today, including some legal updates and tips for negotiating commission with your clients. Speaking of updates, we also send monthly updates via our newsletter. So be sure to check that these are not going to your spam folder because they include a lot of good information, including updates on required forms like the RAD form from CAR. So be sure you have our info email saved as a contact so that you'll always receive updates from the office. That email address is info@reebrokerca.com.
Thank you, Paige, so much. Yes, please, everyone, make sure to read our newsletters. We work hard on those. And if you have any ideas, keep emailing them to us. Now, I really wanted to go over the buyer representation and broker compensation agreement. I wanted to truly underline that this is mandatory. It's not optional. It is absolutely mandatory. It is mandatory for all properties, not just residential 1 to 4 unit properties, condos or townhomes. So it does include multi-unit residential properties with more than 4 dwelling units, commercial real property, vacant land, a ground lease coupled with improvements, and a manufactured home or mobile home when it's sold through a real estate agent. So it is absolutely mandatory. Um, Obviously, you don't need to have it for lease or rental agreements, including commercial rental agreements, uh, sale of state or federal land, business opportunities. So you don't need it for those, but everything else, just get it. We even recommend it for your tenants when you do lease management. Not management, sorry. No, property management is not allowed when you do rental leases. Um, then I wanted to speak a little bit more about the actual agreement. Um, like I said, it's not optional. This is law in California. If you have any questions, please be sure to contact our office. We will gladly walk you through it, explain it again. CAR-NR has a lot of resources about it. The DRE does too. Some key points that I wanted to highlight is that it has to be written. It can't be a verbal or oral agreement. It has to be absolutely written down. Use the BRBC from CAR, and I'll go over a few other options. And then with the new DRE regulations starting January 2026, this was kind of the case beforehand, but now they're really cracking down. You need to have it before touring any property, even virtual properties. So right when you start talking to a buyer, get this signed, protected, and we'll discuss a little bit more how you can bring the conversation up. So let me keep going. Speaking of different options for your buyer representation agreement, if you're doing a new construction and do not have access to CAR forms because we allow new construction, we did upload this from Realty Publications. It is under our document library. So now none of our agents have any excuse not to have a buyer representation agreement. You have to have it signed. So we kind of even highlighted for you where to enter the information. This is the agency law disclosure, but if you go down further in the document library, you'll see the buyer representation agreement. It is look different from CAR because CAR has copyright. Realty Publications allows real estate agents in California to use their forms. So we downloaded it, and we highly suggest Well, you're required to use it while you're under our brokerage. It's law. So I did want to discuss, we did have a lot of agents mention the hesitation from their clients when they go look at virtual tours and other open houses. They don't want to sign a whole buyer representation agreement. That is okay. We do allow, and the law allows, the property showing and representation agreement from CAR, the PSRA. This is a lot more limited, but it is still a valid agreement. So, of course, you would just put the property addresses there, the dates, and the amount of compensation. It's absolutely valid if you have this versus the BRBC. Just make sure that you have one or the other. So, we do want to talk about negotiation tips. Um, it's sometimes awkward talking to buyers. With sellers, you're all used to it for listing presentations. It's about the home sale and everything. With buyers, they're already worried about paying for a lot of things for the property, with the loans, everything. But you do have to have this agreement. And what I like to kind of start with is two questions for your buyers. The first one is like, well, do you want to buy a property? And they're going to say yes, because that's the whole point. The second one, you can do a preface for it. You could say, you'll have to sign a few contracts to get through the process. Well, this one is the first contract you need to sign. It lets us legally work for you, it protects you, and allows the brokerage to make appointments, negotiate on your behalf. And once we find your dream place, we'll be able to act immediately. So you can kind of go into the conversation like that, and then you can bring up other points to explain it to them. The BRBC is very cleanly written. There shouldn't be too many problems. It does include the buyer compensation advisory, so they can read it and see how both parties get paid for the listing side and buyer side and who's responsible for it. But you, as the agent, actually figure out the right price for a property, not just whatever it was listed for. You write offers to sellers that they actually say yes to. You negotiate prices, credits, and repairs. You navigate inspections, disclosures, and deadlines. And you keep the deal alive when things get bumpy. And as you all know, things do get bumpy in this business. The listing agents and the buyer's agents work real hard together to make sure that the sellers and buyers get along and finish the deal. So the compensation is definitely earned in this case. Um, but you can also tell the buyers um, in plain English that you guys agree on the fee up front, so nothing will be hidden. It is negotiable, and it's also in writing before you represent them. So you're protecting them. Um, they obviously you don't they won't have to pay you if they don't purchase a house. So it's just an agreement, and you can mark it there that you would negotiate with the sellers. I did want to do a quick kind of acting thing, and I will ask Diana's help to pretend to be a buyer who asks questions, and I'll be able to answer them. Diana, please go ahead with the first one.
Um, well, I'm interested in buying this house, but do I really have to sign this agreement with you?
Yes, you do. It is law in California now, and it's protecting you and me. You can sign it and make it open, not exclusive, but exclusivity allows me to truly work on your behalf.
Can we just deal with this later?
No, we can't deal with it later. I wish, but the rules say this has to be decided before I represent you, and it's no pressure, but just clarity.
But I really don't want to pay out of pocket. I don't want to have to pay your commission out of my pocket.
That is totally fair. Most buyers still don't. We usually ask the seller to cover it, and many do. If not, we reassess and decide what makes sense.
So what if the seller refuses to pay for your commission? Then what's going to happen?
Well, then we will reassess. So we can adjust the price or terms, ask for credits, decide if the house is even worth it.
Okay, but another agent said they could do it cheaper than you.
That's okay. Fees are negotiable, but really matters is who protects you when you're under contract and things get bumpy. Of course, I will make sure there's no last minute surprises, clear expectations from day one, stronger negotiation position, and you stay in control the whole time. I'm just here for you.
Well, that sounds good. Let's get
Mhm.
this signed.
Thank you very much, Diana. Okay, and then going off that, I wanted to mention continuing education. We always recommend following your association and CAR education offerings. You can find it on CAR, and your association emails you a bunch of classes all the time. They are very much up to date. We watch them ourselves, and we really enjoy them. I am part of, as you all know, a lot of associations, so I go to a lot of them. We always do recommend if you have car membership to use their 45 continuing uh, education promotion. They do have it for free because you're paying for a car. If you don't, we also do suggest First Tuesday. They have a great online platform as well. So both options and any options are available for you. I know Diana, for example, just did her continuing education, but she did a weekend course. So there's a lot of different things that you can look into. And now I wanted to say that we are proud of our mentorship program and the education we provide. We are positive that we are the best fit for new agents. When new agents sign up with us with no experience, we walk through them through all the steps with our mentorship program. We're not here just for productive and experienced agents. Of course, we love them. We're here to support them in any case. And you guys know that you can always call the office. But we do want to clarify that we are here for our new agents as well. And mentorship will be right there for them. Then I did want to, I have quite a bit to say this webinar. New laws. It's the beginning of the year. We have quite a few new laws. CAR has a great table, and I have to say, I was trying to research the new laws affecting California. It's hard to find all in one place. Articles write about it and everything, but CAR actually combined it all, made it very clear, and in summary. So I would recommend going to that link and also just looking up the new laws. They'll be there. But a few things that I wanted to highlight was that you need to review your MLS for the rules of AI images for the property. Things like lightening it up, like making things sharper or clearer, that's okay. You don't really need to actually detail that in your comments. But if you use AI to like stage it or anything, they do have very specific rules now, and it is law. So it's not just MLS rules. Um, then there is a federal reporting guideline for specific cases, but the purchase agreement will populate it and you can review it. It's called the CAR Form FRRPA, and you'll just be able to see it. It's mostly for escrow and title purposes. Um, CAR just wanted it they prepared it so it's easier for our partners in closing the deal. It makes it all smoother and no last minute holdups. So you'll see that form when you fill that out. Just follow through with it and ask questions if you have any. And now, supervision and reporting. You might wonder why we keep hounding you sometimes on emails and calls, like send us all this information within 24 hours. Well, the DRE really does audit. They go to the offices, different ones, and they do audits and they ask for information. They started emailing it more versus showing up in person. Personally, I liked when they showed up in person because you could say hi and meet them, but it's okay. At least they email still. Um, but it is very important for us to make sure we get all your information to protect you and us. And usually the DRE is pretty happy with our findings, and we're really prepared because our agents are great at providing it. You might have noticed our update on the fee schedule. So I wanted everyone to review it and select the best plan for you. Most of you probably will go on the flat plan, which you might already be on, but there's two other plans that you can decide to join. Um, we are proud for not changing our fees since 2005. So that's 20 years, almost 21 years today. But with inflation and more services that we provide to our agents than we used to in the past, we needed to increase the risk management fee to $200 versus 135. So the actual broker fee did not increase. It only increased if it's over a million. But it stayed 500. The risk management did, and now it includes workers' compensation. We offered it in the past, but we really want to make it clear to agents that we do have it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Yeva. So much good information. Hi again, team. I wanted to remind you about our revenue sharing program. So you can earn a $100 bonus every time a real estate agent that you refer closes a qualified transaction with us. So if you know someone who might be interested, send them your unique recruiting link to apply, and you'll automatically be set up to receive your bonus when they close their qualified transaction. So if you have questions about this, please reach out to the office. We'd be happy to help. You can also use our recommended transaction coordinator company, TC4U. So TC4U charges $349 per buyer-seller transaction. You can start working with a TC automatically by selecting their services in your file or by emailing info@tc4u.com. Another way to streamline your transactions with us is to use our in-house escrow, SurePoint Escrow. You can select SurePoint Escrow in your transaction as well by selecting them in the Streamlined transaction section. We have already closed several files with SurePoint Escrow and are excited to offer the quick Streamlined support. So you can reach out to Shauna using the information on screen.
Thank you, Paige. So one more thing that I've seen on the news is checks being washed. So if you still write checks with a pen and paper, I like to do that, but I usually hand the checks to the people when I do it. Do not mail them. What happens is that people steal the checks from the mailbox and they wash off the name, the payee name, and the amount, so that they can get paid and take money from your bank. It's very prevalent. I just got like two different news articles this past week about it, so I really wanted to mention it. Use secure payment methods to prevent that. For example, use the bill pay from your bank to send the checks directly from them, because it's all printed and everything, and then there's that additional security, or just a few other secure payment methods. Of course, you usually don't pay anyone, at least for real estate, but I did want to tell our agents, because we're all people, we all have bills, that be careful paying in written checks. Another thing that the DRE sent out is they urged licensees to be aware of DRE impersonation email scams. So always take a look to see who the email's coming from. Also, if escrow or title send you like closing documents, we get those quite a bit, but we also get a lot of scams. So we look to see who sent it, and then we also check if they included the address or the parties in the transaction or the escrow number. If they didn't, it's most likely a scam unless you were talking to them. So definitely keep an eye on that.
Okay, so well, now we're gonna have an open forum. So if you guys, any of you have any questions and you want to dive deeper into anything we just discussed today, now it's the time to ask your questions and we'll be happy to answer your questions for you. Does anyone have any questions? Liana, are they unmuted? Yeva, can they?
Yeah, let me see. Yeah, so if any of you guys want to raise your hand, let me unmute. Okay, we'll unmute Linda in a minute after answering Leona's question. So it is the buyer who is actually obligated to pay for your commission, if you represent the buyers. However, the buyers can always negotiate for the sellers to pay their obligation to the buyer's brokerage. So that's where the confusion lies. So technically, the buyers are responsible to pay for your commission. Most sellers understand the situation and they are okay including some of they're okay paying from the proceeds, but you do have to negotiate that on the on the RPA. There's a section under, I think it's 3G. Okay, and then Linda, thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yay. Okay. Hi. Question. For those of us who are just hanging our license with you with the new fee structure, what does that mean for us?
Yes. So what that means, Linda, is that if you're just hanging your license with us, we still do not charge any like additional fees ahead of time. But if a year goes by where you haven't done any referrals or anything, we do invoice $120 for the previous year.
Okay.
So if you're going to have an open transaction or a referral, we could probably just implement that invoice for it. You don't have to really pay out of pocket, but we do invoice for the previous year. So we don't want to invoice anyone or have anyone pay in advance. We're not that type of brokerage. We know that things are already hard as is.
Mhm.
And we know that there's a lot of other brokerages who charge monthly or yearly fees as is already. So we still wanted to stay our lane. But yes, you will get an invoice if you end up not doing any referrals or anything.
Okay. And that will be calendar year?
No, it'll be a year like the join date.
Got
So yeah, so we're not if somebody joins in December, we're not going to invoice them in January.
got it. Okay, great. Thank you.
Of course. So Liana, the escrow is 50-50 because the escrow handles both sides of the listing and the buying side. But the escrow doesn't really negotiate with the clients before they sign any contracts. Like you can obviously not go with an escrow if they charge a lot more, or you can negotiate for the sellers to pay all of it. I know a lot of sellers check that buyers pay all the fees. So you can kind of negotiate that on the purchase agreement as well. But the brokerage commission specifically is something that's supposed to be negotiated even before we do any representation. Any other questions? Diana, do you want to take this one?
Sure. Let me just read this. So, James is asking for the BRBC commission. Can the listing agent choose to share their commission and percentage with the buyer's agent to pay for the buyer's agent commission, or is up to the listing broker? Well, under the new NAR guidelines, the listing agents no longer negotiate the commission for the buyer's side. Now, that commission for the buyer's agent is negotiated through a separate representation agreement through the BRBC. So when you're taking a listing, you're only securing your compensation, your commission for the listing side. You can have the conversation with your seller at that time to see if the seller is willing to offer concessions for the buyer's agent's commission. Obviously, you're not going to advertise this on the MLS because it's not allowed anymore, but you are allowed to say that the seller is considering giving concessions to pay for the buyer's agent's commission, but it's no longer negotiated. You no longer have to share your commission with the split your commission with the buyer's agent. That used to be the way compensation used to be before, but that's no longer the case under the new NAR guidelines. Did you have any questions about that?
So yes, Leanna, the buyer does have more costs than the seller, but of course it can be negotiated. Um, and hopefully they end up not having the more costs because the sellers still have to pay for like the NHD and stuff like that. So that's why you want to negotiate for the home warranty and everything for the sellers to pay. But like Diana said, it's not that they're not now they're it's discouraged. It's actually not allowed by law. So as a listing brokerage, you can't already be thinking ahead how much you'd want to give to the buyer's agent. It really is up to the buyers and the buyer's agent to communicate with themselves and then ask for it on the RPA.
And just to add a little bit to that, the reason why a lot of sellers are still paying for the buyer's agent commission is because they do understand that the buyer has a lot more upfront fees to pay for when buying a house. So they understand that the buyer's already having to come up with a down payment plus closing costs. So this is why a lot of sellers are still agreeing to pay to help the buyer, at least with the commission compensation that they have to pay their agent. So yeah, that's how it goes,
Yeah. And
unfortunately for the buyer. Mhm.
exactly. And in California, it was really always the case. Maybe other states didn't follow exactly the same, but now we're making it very like in your face that you have to do that. Um, One thing is, if I don't see any other questions at the moment, we had a situation. Uh, oh yeah, Leanna, you can remove all the COVID forms. Yeah, those are not no longer required. I think they should be removed actually from the library unless the Carb just forgot all about them. But one thing that I wanted to mention is we had a case where an agent did not check the box for the washer and dryer on the purchase agreement because she assumed that since the MLS pictures had the washer and dryer in the pictures, and in the MLS report, it showed and it said that the features are washer and dryer. Um, she assumed that they would be in the contract. However, they're not. The sellers actually took them out. Um, they had removed them during the like walkthrough, and then they put them back again, and then they removed them again. Um, and so now the buyers want the washer and dryer. So as a big reminder, if it's not like built in into the cabinets or something, like if they can like be rolled out and removed, include them in your contract. There's an area where you check box whatever you want, and the sellers can counter them out or leave them in there. If you're representing the buyers, it's always better to, of course, you don't want to go crazy with your negotiations, um, but you still want to make sure to protect your buyers as much as possible. It's better to ask a little bit more and then the sellers can counter than the other way around. Um, so yeah, I did want to mention that. Uh, let's see. Oh yeah, so Leanna, I think the contract is officially about 17 pages, but that's not including the additional bundles that it comes with. You can, as a car member, you have the ability to use Glide so that you can send to your agents I mean to your clients the signature like to sign digitally and everything if they're okay with that. So you can do that instead of having to worry about printing anything out. But yes, the some sellers do uh, like put a cheaper washer, dryer, or a dishwasher in place of the one that they had left, or the original one from pictures. So you do want to take pictures of it, write things down. You just want to protect your buyers if that's what they care about. Sometimes the house is worth it, no, even with a cheaper washer. So, but you still want to be protected. Yes, Glide is a digital platform that Car offers for people to use. You just kind of put your client information in, and all the Car's forms are there, so you can look at them, you can edit them online, and then send them out for signature. Our preferred TC actually uses them, so if you ever have any questions with that, you can always use the TC, and they'll handle it. Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you guys very much. Happy February. We're really excited for this year. We're seeing that transactions are lighting up, so it's really good. We are also seeing that a lot of buyers are backing out very last minute, so make sure to not release your contingencies for your clients until they're absolutely sure. And like I say always, like wait for that notice to perform, if possible. But obviously, you don't want to ruffle any feathers. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.